Pay attention to the woman in the white dress. Her name is Alessandra Bianchi. She is a 24-year-old supermodel walking down Rodeo Drive on a hot California afternoon. She doesn't know it yet, but these few seconds of footage are the last time she will be recorded alive. Now pay attention to the person in the red hoodie. They are stalking her, and their paths are about to cross in a way that will end one life and expose a conspiracy a decade in the making. The official timeline of Alessandra Bianchi's last day begins at 10:30 a.m. on June 14, 2006. According to staff records from the Peninsula Beverly Hills, this is when she finalized her checkout. Employees would later report to investigators that the model seemed unusually distracted. She avoided eye contact and repeatedly glanced down at her phone, her attention fixed on the screen. A concierge who hailed her taxi noted she appeared tense, a stark contrast to the calm professional demeanor she was known for. She gave the driver a single destination, the Cartier boutique on Rodeo Drive. At 11:15 a.m., Alessandra entered Cartier. Sales associate Maria Delgado later testified that Alessandra was not there to shop, but to collect a special order. The item was a custom diamond and onyx brooch, a piece of extraordinary value. According to Delgado, the purchase had been made by an anonymous benefactor, and Alessandra herself seemed surprised by the gift's existence. With the brooch was a small folded note, which security footage showed her quickly reading before placing it inside her black Birkin bag. While there, she made a purchase of her own, a matching Panthère diamond bracelet charging $127,000 to her personal American Express card. By 12:45 p.m., Alessandra was seated alone at an outdoor table at Il Pastaio, a restaurant frequented by celebrities. Waitstaff reported to police that she ordered a light meal but left it virtually untouched. Her focus remained entirely on her phone. Witnesses described her as constantly texting someone and appearing deeply anxious. At 1:20 p.m., she abruptly stood up, left enough cash on the table to cover the bill, and walked away. The urgent, one-sided conversation she was having over text was with a person who was never identified. To understand the events of June 14, it is necessary to understand that Alessandra Bianchi was not merely a visitor to the world of luxury. She was born into it. She was born in Milan, Italy, to Giuliana Ferretti, a former runway model, and Marco Bianchi, a third-generation master diamond cutter whose family had been in the jewelry trade since the 1920s. Her father's workshop was located on the Via Montenapoleone, Italy's most prestigious luxury street and European equivalent of the very Rodeo Drive where she would one day vanish. She inherited her mother's looks, which paved her way into the fashion industry, but she inherited her father's world. Unlike other models who simply wore the jewelry, Alessandra understood it. This authentic background became the foundation of her career. By 2005, she was the face of a major Bulgari jewelry campaign. The media celebrated her European sophistication, but few understood its origins. It was this deep personal connection to the diamond trade that would ultimately draw her into a dangerous history she did not fully understand. After leaving the restaurant, Alessandra's movements entered a period investigators would later call the lost hours. For over 2 hours, she remained on and around Rodeo Drive. Security cameras captured her entering a Prada boutique, only to leave minutes later. At 2:10 p.m., she was recorded sitting on a bench, engaged in intense phone conversation. It was during this time that the figure in the red hoodie grew bolder. At 2:47 p.m., they passed within 10 feet of her. At 3:28 p.m., they were seen standing directly across the street, watching. The final definitive image was captured at 3:47 p.m. After Alessandra walks past the camera, she turns east onto Brighton Way at 3:50 p.m. This intersection marks her vanishing point. For the next 36 hours, there was only silence. The alarm was officially raised not in Los Angeles, but over 6,000 miles away in Milan, Italy. Alessandra's mother, Giuliana Ferretti, filed a missing person report with the Beverly Hills Police Department. The initial assumption was that a 24-year-old model may have taken an impulsive trip. The time for a routine response, however, was already gone. On the fourth day of the investigation, the case shifted dramatically. A homeless man discovered a black Hermes Birkin bag in a dumpster on Melrose Avenue, 3.7 miles from Rodeo Drive. It was identified as the bag Alessandra had been carrying. Inside, detectives found her passport, credit cards, and $8,400 in cash, weakening the theory of a conventional robbery. But there were also signs of a violent struggle. Her sunglasses were broken, and her iPhone had been smashed, its SIM card physically removed. While what was found was revealing, it was what was missing that redefined the investigation. 3 key items were gone: the new Cartier Panther brooch, the $127,000 diamond bracelet she had purchased, and the small folded note that had accompanied the gifted brooch. The BHPD now operated under the grim assumption that they were no longer searching for a missing person, but for a victim of a violent crime. The search for Alessandra Bianchi ended on June 22nd, 8 days after she disappeared. A pair of hikers in Runyon Canyon Park discovered a shallow grave. Dental records provided a positive identification. It was the missing model. The Los Angeles County Coroner's report provided the first concrete facts. The time of death was estimated to be within hours of her disappearance. The cause of death was a combination of blunt force trauma and asphyxiation. The report also noted the absence of evidence of sexual assault. 2 findings were particularly significant. First, forensic evidence indicated that Runyon Canyon was a secondary crime scene. She had been killed elsewhere. Second, the coroner noted significant bruising on her left wrist, consistent with a bracelet being forcibly torn off. This physical evidence confirmed the motive was directly linked to the jewelry she had acquired. With the murder confirmed, a joint task force turned its full attention to the single lead they had, the unidentified figure in the red hoodie. The team began a painstaking review of over 47 hours of security footage. The suspect was careful to obscure their face, consistently keeping their head down or turned away. The breakthrough came from a single critical mistake. At 3:15 p.m., surveillance cameras captured Alessandra entering a jewelry store named Bel Air Gold and Estate Buyers. As she went inside, the red hoodie figure waited across the street. In the faint reflection on a neighboring boutique's window, forensic video analysts found a distorted but usable partial profile. After hours of digital enhancement, a clearer image emerged, and with it, a stunning revelation that upended all previous assumptions. The figure in the red hoodie was a woman. The discovery that the suspect was a woman provided a new profile, but it did not provide a motive. Investigators turned their attention to Bel Air Gold and Estate Buyers. The owner, David Kessler, eventually admitted that Alessandra had come to him to sell 5 loose diamonds. An expert, he knew immediately her claim of a family heritage was suspicious. He recognized the cut as characteristic of Cartier's work from the 1990s. He discreetly photographed the 5 diamonds before offering her $180,000, which she accepted, promising to return the next day. Kessler provided his photographs to the police. The report that came back was a bombshell. The experts confirmed the diamonds were a definitive match to stones stolen during a notorious 1997 armed robbery at a Cartier flagship store in Paris. It was the same heist that had been publicly and wrongly linked to her father. To understand why Alessandra was in possession of stolen diamonds, investigators had to look back to her father, Marco Bianchi. He was accused of conspiring in the 1997 heist, and though he never convicted, the accusation ruined him, leading to his suicide in 2000. This family tragedy became a private obsession for her daughter. A search of her apartment uncovered notebooks filled with research on the heist. The key was a shipping manifest showing she had received an anonymous package in early 2006. Investigators believed this package contained the 5 diamonds and a letter. The letter, they theorized, contained a lie, that her father had been given the diamonds as payment for his silence before being framed. It urged her to sell them to expose the truth. It was a trap, designed to appeal to her quest for justice. The diamonds were bait, and by attempting to sell them, Alessandra had revealed herself to the person who was hunting her. The knowledge that Alessandra was lured into a trap led investigators to the original perpetrators of the 1997 heist. The search led them to one name, Sophie Marchand, the 41-year-old wife of Lucien Marchand, one of the heist's masterminds. Records showed Sophie had moved to Los Angeles in 2004, and her physical description matched the woman in the CCTV reflection. Her motive was rooted in a desperate obsession. The bulk of the diamonds stolen in 1997, valued at $12 million, had never been recovered.
She was convinced that Marco Bianchi and, by extension, Alessandra held the key to that fortune. She sent Alessandra expertly forged fake diamonds as bait. When Alessandra took that bait, she confirmed Sophie's false belief. The confrontation happened on Brighton Way. When a terrified Alessandra insisted she knew nothing, Sophie panicked, and the confrontation turned violent. On July 7, 2006, Sophie Marchand was arrested at Los Angeles International Airport. A search of her luggage uncovered Alessandra's stolen Cartier jewelry and the red hoodie. DNA from the hoodie was a perfect match to trace evidence found on the victim's body. The trial of Sophie Marchand began in January 2007. The jury found her guilty of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and robbery. She was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The verdict brought legal closure, but it also cemented a bitter truth. In 2008, both Italian and French authorities officially exonerated Marco Bianchi. He had been an innocent man, and his daughter had been murdered years later as a result of lingering greed. In the years that followed, Alessandra's mother, Giuliana Ferretti, established the Alessandra Bianchi Foundation to support the children of individuals wrongly accused of crimes. The recovered Cartier jewelry was donated to a museum in Milan, where it is displayed alongside the tools from Marco Bianchi's workshop. While Sophie Marchand serves her life sentence, she has never revealed what happened to the stolen fortune. The ultimate fate of the missing $12 million in diamonds remains a mystery to this day.